Hello, everybody, and welcome back once more to Anime Yay or Nay. I am the AutbackAl.
I'm Chibi Noob.
I'm Envy Jitters.
I'm CheerandCosplay.
And that's it, because it's running a little short staff today, but that's okay, because, well, I don't know if that has anything to do with Samurai Pizza Cats. We watched Samurai Pizza Cats, but, yeah.
Can I say something completely unrelated to the anime?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
So I was missing last week because I went to visit my little sister and see her in her high school musical.
Uh-huh.
And afterwards, one of her friends came up to talk to us and was like, "Oh, this is your sister. This must be anime." And I was like, "What?" She's like, "Oh, there's too many of you. There's too many of you guys, so I gave you all nicknames based off of your hobbies. You're anime." And I was like, I don't really watch that much anime, but then I remembered I'm on an anime podcast regularly, so okay, maybe that's fair.
You're our one person who doesn't watch a lot of anime, so everything's new to you.
I was gonna say you gotta counterbalance me.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I also counterbalance you quite a bit because I also don't watch that much anime anymore, so...
And I tend to be devil's advocate, so, you know, I counterbalance. I don't counterbalance, I think I just... What do I do?
You sit on the
You run the
fence.
show.
That's what you
Ah, cool. I should not, think too introspectively about my own life. That's only gonna cause me problems, I think.
do. Yeah.
So, Samurai Pizza Cats.
Yeah.
God, this is what I'm doing with my life.
Uh-huh.
Nope, not gonna go down that rabbit hole. So yeah, we watched this because we talked last week a little bit after Garzy's Wing about Saban, and that they did dubbing and production of some different, anime, some live action stuff, a couple different things. We were going to do a little showcase of them for the end of the year, and so we're starting with this one because I couldn't find two of the other ones that I really wanted to. And this is generally regarded as a pretty funny overall, almost gag dub sort of thing. What did you guys think?
I'm just gonna say this. I feel like this is where Ghost Stories got its inspiration. It's basically the PG rating of, at least as far as the quality of the dub and the jokes. I feel like an inspiration for them.
So, I actually looked up the Wikipedia article on this show, and also the original, which, so apparently, the creators who got the licensing rights for the dubbing, they apparently, when given the translations and general information about the show, there was little to non-existent, and whatever they got was of poor quality. So they basically took whatever they got and they sort of made up their own original stories.
Yeah, the way I had heard it was
shit.
the way I had heard it was that they were waiting on the scripts from Japan that they could then translate, but they didn't come in time for them to start recording, so they're just like, improvise, screw it, just we have the footage, we can, it's a kid's show, we can infer based on whatever's going on around it, and for the most part, it looked like if a lot of this was just on-the-spot improvised, they at least did a good job with it, for the most part.
Oh no, it definitely was, because I don't think, when they got the translations, that there was really a whole lot for them to work with.
Yeah,
so.
I'd imagine so. Question. The big cheese, is that a fox or a mouse?
It's supposed to be a kitsune.
Okay.
However, because it looks like a rat, they turned it into a rat for the American release.
Okie doke.
Okay.
That makes more sense. Well, it doesn't.
Yeah, because I was saying they kept saying he kept saying rat, but it's like that's either the biggest freaking rat I've ever seen in my entire life, because that does not look like a rat.
They were going more along the lines with it's an enemy of a cat, so a rat.
That makes sense.
It was one of the many changes that they made.
Yeah, they made a number of, changes. First off, these are supposed to be ninja, not samurai, but, I don't think that means much to 90s America. I think this whole show is just a crap ton of, 90s pop culture references and,
breaking the fourth wall every 5 seconds.
No, it's fun.
Yeah, no, that, I think, their improvisation was basically, they're like, okay, make it funny at any cost.
And make the theme song annoyingly catchy.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've been singing it all day.
Yeah, it'll get in your head a little bit. I'm trying to think about what to talk here. I mean, there's not a whole lot in the way of plot to really go over. It's an episodic Monster of the Week show about robot cats who work at a pizza shop who double as samurai protectors of the city who get shot out of a giant gun to fight the rat's evil mecha monster things each week. Rinse and repeat.
Do you want to know what the original plot was?
It wasn't that? What was the original shop? I'm assuming that it's not pizza, is it?
No, it actually was.
Really?
So they are
okay.
ninja cats who work in the city's pizzeria. The city itself is not Little Tokyo. It's called Eteropolis, which is basically just supposed to be like feudal Japan, but in like a contemporary culture with like cybernetic anthropomorphic animals.
Yeah, the art style here's got a bit of like a early Mega Man vibe.
Yeah. And basically, the city is run by a shogun, who is a bit doddering and eccentric, but apparently his daughter's the one that's actually sort of calling the shots. But the prime minister, the Kitsune, is apparently plotting to like overthrow the shogun and take control of the city. So the palace guard, who I'm not actually sure that we met, basically like recruits the ninja pizza cats to help protect the city and thwart the big cheese's plans.
So, in the original Japanese, did they make it seem like the city was run by the different food stands or conglomerates or whatever? Was that changed in America?
I do believe that was changed.
Yeah, because in this dub, that pretty much Little Tokyo is just nothing but shops and businesses, and the shogun, I guess, is the head of everything or something like that. So
yeah, he's basically like mayor of the city.
Yeah.
So
I think to some degree there is a little bit of like historical precedent for something like this. I know like back in the day, don't remember what the guy's name was, but there was a samurai who came up to become emperor or shogun or whatever, and he had like, there were a bunch of ninja running around. He was like, you know what? Instead of trying to wipe out these ninja like some other people have done, I'm going to hire all of them, and they're going to protect my palace. And they just like pretended to be like gardeners or whatever. But like literally every peasant was like a ninja bodyguard for him. So yeah, why not have a bunch of people running a pizzeria be the secret protectors of the town that are ninjas or samurai in this version?
Yeah. But yeah. So that is essentially what the original was. A bit of a departure from what we got here in the States because, yeah.
Yeah, over here, maybe not ironically, but basically just Power Rangers.
Yeah. More or less.
Makes sense from the company that gave us Power Rangers, like probably like a year later or something. I don't know. I forget when this was. When did this get dubbed?
So
1990 to 91, and Power Rangers started 93. So yeah, this predates it, which is interesting.
Yeah, so a funny thing about the original run for Samurai Pizza Cats, it apparently was dubbed in 90, and I'm not sure if it just doesn't have the information here on Wikipedia, but apparently it was also like originally came out in 90 as well. So, like, it got... Oh, American rights for it was in, like, 91. So.
Yeah, it came over pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I think there was just, like, a number of, like, different... I think this was kind of in that post-80s. There were a number of, like, anime movies and a number of other things that had come over that people were able to dub cheaply. And this was, like, kind of a practice even going into the 90s where they would just, like... buy up. Actually, Garzy's Wing is one of these, Interestingly
Yeah.
enough, from last week, where in the late 80s and all through the 90s and that, you had a bunch of anime OVAs, movies, even some like short TV shows that were coming over and being bought very, very cheaply because they didn't do well over in Japan. So they would buy them up, these like maybe less than good dubbing companies would grab them and distribute them, dub them and all that, do it on the cheap, and make a quick buck out of it on like VHS markets and stuff like that. Or in this case, you can get it through broadcasting, because I guess Saban had enough connections they were able to get like onto TV and that. Plus, I mean, they're friendly enough, like family friendly enough. You could get on TV as well. Like some certain things, you couldn't back in the day probably see Garzy's Wing on TV or anything like that. But they're had at least been starting a boom like ever since like Akira and a couple other films had come over. So this is kind of like as it's just starting to get on the rise in America. We haven't quite hit that point of like I forget when it came over here. It was like 98 or 99 that we got Pokemon. I know it came out in 97. But yeah. So I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, so you have let's buy it real. I mean, that's kind of was always like Saban's sort of business model. Was like, let's buy it on the cheap, dub it real quick, and then get it out, kind of thing. You know, whatever's going to cost us as little as possible. But for doing it very cheaply, in that it's still pretty good. Like it was pretty interesting. I think the mixing on it was terrible. Some people's lines are just like either too loud, too low, or we're into like it sounded like they were recording into a sponge. I'm not sure, but I mean, some of the line reads were actually pretty good and kind of fun. I do like the guy they have who's like just doing a Paul Lynde impression the whole time with the big cheese and the narrator and all that.
Studies at the University of Wisconsin show that you'll probably live longer if you love only one man or woman at a time.
But it is all right to alternate.
Actually, well, not the narrator. The second episode had that, like, it was like the noir detective. No, wait, or is that the third one? I forget which one. But, yeah, there's a couple fun things going on. I don't know how well a Paul Lynde impression is for people nowadays, but he was very famous for a while.
Yeah, the third episode was them getting trapped in the subway mines or whatever.
I'm trying to think. I feel like I don't know what to say about this show. I feel like I need to see a lot more of it to have like a whole lot of things to say, because like on the one hand, I feel like early on it was very funny because it was kind of it was silly. It was a weird dub. They were making a ton of jokes and fourth wall breaks. I'm like, I think like by the third episode, the shtick started to get a little bit old. So I don't know if this is just like taking too much of it at once kind of thing, but
yeah, I think this is like a weekly kids cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like watching this like week to week is probably like a better way to watch it. Although I'm wondering if YouTube has all of the episodes that were aired in English. Because the two clip shows apparently that they didn't dub over, and apparently some of them were never aired in the US. So
I mean, that's another thing that Saban would do sometimes. 4Kids would also do this sort of thing where they would like cut certain episodes or like re-edit them. They actually, I feel like I've told you guys this, but unfortunately, I wanted this to be part of what we watched for the Saban kind of showcase thing. They got the rights to distribute Visions of Escaflowne in English, and they did the dubbing of it, but they also re-edited it. Because the show is about the girl who goes to another world and meets a guy with a dragon mecha and, you know, romance, fantasy, violence, all that sort of thing. It's actually like seems like a really interesting show outside of that. But for the 90s and all that sort of stuff, they were like, you know what, we can't have a female protagonist. We're going to re-edit the show so that her primary love interest is the protagonist. So it got about 6 episodes before they canceled it. and you can't find it anywhere. Again, I think you can find its theme song that they made for it, which wasn't too bad. It was kind of interesting for the American release online. But The rest of it is gone. I don't know if anyone has a copy of it anywhere, but it's pretty much scrubbed from the internet at this point.
Yeah.
That or it never got to the internet because, who's gonna have it?
It could have been like Saban's attempt at Sailor Moon.
That you could have just kept the girl as the lead then.
No. They did something completely different for their concept with Sailor Moon. Because originally, what Saban was going to do was going to have it half live action, and then half like original animation. That's not the actual like Sailor Moon anime.
Well, no one ever said they were full of good ideas.
Like I think they were.
Sounds horrible.
I think they were attempting something like more similar to like their Power Rangers sort of formula, but no, it never got off the ground. All we've seen is like clips from the convention that they were premiering like or like announcing it at, and then we have nothing else. I think Red Bard here on YouTube actually has a whole video on it. If you actually want to go check it out.
Part of me can definitely understand why maybe that seemed like a good idea for them. After they had Power Rangers, they were making fucking money at that point.
Oh yeah.
And like they'd made a whole number of other things. They even like eventually did try like some actually original live action TV shows after all that happened, which we can go into later if we're going to cover some other stuff. But yeah, I see where they were coming from. Terrible idea though.
Yeah. Like I think it says here on the episodes that they actually didn't air, like some of the stuff that didn't get aired here in the US was mostly because of like risque jokes. Which were not suitable by the standards of the time. And also, I want to say, also, apparently homosexuality was another thing that they did not air parts of the episodes for.
Queers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they had
90s.
someone doing a Paul Lind impression the whole time.
Yeah. I'm like, America.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, but I think that was honestly a pretty common practice for a lot of anime, especially kids anime that was like being dubbed and distributed. They will always cut some things out of. I mean, we've all heard the hatchet job that 4Kids did on One Piece. Whatever of that has still survived, but
the Sailor Moon anime that actually made it over here, where Uranus and Neptune were cousins.
Yeah.
And you know what? It failed. We all still turned out gay.
Yep.
I blame everything else. The more you try to hide it, the more it makes them wanna. I don't know. Anyway, what else should we talk about here? I feel like we're gonna be running really short on this, but I don't know what to talk about this show.
I mean, the thing is that it's a kids show. There isn't really a whole lot to talk about.
Which one was your favorite cat?
Oh goodness.
Probably the girl.
I was gonna say probably Polly, because she was the only one that actually had any sense.
Did she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the other two are just drooling over a sheep with honestly the most like soulless eyes I've ever seen in my entire life.
Was that a sheep?
It had like horns?
She's supposed to be a sheep. Also, apparently she's a cyborg.
They're all robots.
Yeah. Well, I just was like looking at her hair and then like her arms and hands, and I was like, oh, all the cybernetics.
Yeah, they're all like that. They're all Megamans. Robots.
It was just kind of distracting with her because it was more pronounced, I think.
Plus the missiles out of her head.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
that
what?
she apparently restocks.
Yeah, really quickly. Like, I don't understand why you're not using that to fight crime. Everyone else seems afraid of it. Might be a good idea to get her on the team at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know if she wants to go full on ninja, but could be a good idea.
Apparently her character was also very different. Well, not very different, but like they went a different direction with her in the American show than they did in the original. Because in the original, apparently she's like very selfish and self-centered and not very nice. So
that might have been funnier.
yeah, they just made her kind of dim in this one. So,
well,
but yeah, I don't really have a whole lot more to say about this. It was actually more fun just kind of reading about like what the show became when it got here to America versus what it was originally.
Yeah, sometimes you have that with some shows where like the behind the scenes is a little more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I did like the occasional Ninja Turtle reference.
Yes.
Yeah.
God, what was it? Oh no, he's smashing the retirement home for Ninja Turtles or something. Cowabunga!
Yep.
This show was really fast-paced.
Yeah, like, I feel like I missed a lot of, like, jokes and lines that were in there that just got lost in shuffle. Either because, one, we mentioned, like, not so great mixing for your dialogue, but I guess it was the 90s and they were doing it on a rush. But also, like, it's so rapid, like, I think that's, I kind of remember this from whenever we did the Digimon movie, of, like, their jokes just come at you, like, every other second in some of these dubs. And I think there's a little bit of value to that and a little bit of, like, there's some drawbacks to it as well. Like, not every joke gets to stick with you as long, so individually they have less impact, but at the same time, if one of them misses, there's going to be another one within 10 seconds, so you're going to find something else funny. So I guess it's, you know, there are advantages and disadvantages to doing it like this. I would say there's a disadvantage in that, like, you have to keep writing stuff, and I don't know how that, if that's going to allow things to stay fresh, but I don't know. You guys have a favorite joke?
I can't think of any at the top of my head right now. There was
Anytime they mentioned, that's all we have the budget for.
Yeah, that was funny. Or they, like, poke fun at, like, the writers or the production or whatever. Like, I think when they just poke fun at themselves, I feel like that's kind of funny.
Yeah. I like the Subway joke, something along, we have to ask ourselves, well, there's something you have to ask yourselves. What's happening over here? And why are you watching the show?
Yeah. I think this is supposed to be a kid's show, but I don't think I would have liked it as a kid. I think it would have been too fast for me to keep up.
I kind
I
of
would have just
agree
been
with
overwhelmed
you.
with it.
Like, but I think that's part of, like, what I was saying, like, they do rapid fire type stuff. Like, I always assume, like, a lot of shows assume kids don't have an attention span, so they have to, like, keep things moving with bright, colorful lights, essentially.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I mean, and this was also supposed to be more like Animaniacs.
Yeah.
And like how it was supposed to go, like their comedy. Because that is just lots and lots of jokes.
Yeah, but I feel like even with Animaniacs, they at least try to tell a story in the midst of all their jokes.
Also, they usually have, like,
segments.
a little bit of time between their jokes to
true.
kind of, like, let them breathe a little bit, so you could, I don't know, if they had a really funny joke, they would let it land and impact a little bit.
Leave some room for the music.
Yeah. Which eventually we should talk, like, a little bit on music and stuff, because that is one of the other main things that Saban Entertainment kind of contributed to a lot of anime and other TV shows as well, was their composing. Because one of the guys who helped found the company, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Shuki Levy. Yeah, he was also a composer who did, well, I don't know. He did part of, he, like, did a lot of music for Power Rangers and Beetleborgs, VR Troops, all that sort of stuff, Digimon as well. But he also, like, made music for, like, Inspector Gadget, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, She-Ra, whole bunch of, like, stuff throughout, like, the 80s and 90s. And yeah, like you look at his like filmography on Wikipedia, it's huge. Even did part of the music for the early episodes of Dragon Ball Z when it was the Ocean group that was dubbing it. They had Saban helping them with the music, so we actually listened to some of his work when we did the Shonen Showdown back when.
Okay.
So, and I think Hayam Saban, which the company was named after, also did a number of things with that as well. So, I don't know. I don't have a segue here, so. It is fucking honestly.
It really is.
All of their music is really catchy, like no matter what. I'm trying to
I think that's kind of the point, though. Make it an
Yeah.
earworm. You won't forget it.
Yeah.
I kept forgetting what this show was called, and I think if their theme song wasn't so catchy, I would still be calling it Chicken Ninja Pizza.
Chicken Ninja Pizza?
Oh,
Yeah.
is it because of the crows?
No, I just couldn't remember what it was. I was calling it that.
Okay. Because I was going to say, I'm like, they fight birds. Where did
Yeah,
you
like,
get the
now-
chicken from?
I knew it was an animal. But like, and now every time I close my eyes, all I hear is Samurai Pizza Cat, so there's
They're
no
fighting
forgetting now.
crime all the time.
I hoped you liked the show. It was the best we could do.
Oh, we should talk about the credits. Because, did you guys watch the credits?
Yes.
Okay, did you see the most important person on the credit list? The spiritual
No.
advisor, Hogan the Wonder Cat? Someone literally just put their cat into the credits of the thing.
Nice.
That's always fun.
Yeah.
So.
They even said make sure you watch the credits because nothing else is going on, and I didn't.
I wish we had more to talk about here.
It's okay. Sometimes there isn't a lot to talk about, and that's
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, I feel like usually when we have very little talk, I feel like I brought this up before. When we have very little to talk about, it's usually as a result of the show was actually decent. I find people tend to find a lot more ways to describe how they dislike something than how they like something sometimes. Unless something's like amazing. I wouldn't call this amazing, but it's also, this is a fun time.
Yeah.
It certainly wasn't bad enough for me to complain about it for an hour and a half.
No.
So, I'd give this a yay. Maybe don't watch it all at once because it'll start to get old, but, give it a watch.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah, I think
find
I'd
it
give
somewhere.
it like a light yay myself.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, light yay. Yeah.
Yeah. Too much pizza
Yeah.
cats and you get sick.
I like game.
Anyway, we're gonna keep watching some more Saban stuff this month and next month. And I mentioned that they didn't just do, we should say, like, one, we're not going to be doing Digimon for this. We already watched Digimon the movie, and that's a perfect showcase of everything they were able to do for Digimon. I still contest it's actually really good, so go watch that if you haven't. A lot of the actual anime that they dubbed is kind of forgettable. It's not always that interesting. They never had, like, that 4Kids reputation of really, like, hilariously destroying something, unfortunately, other than things that are impossible to find anymore. So we're going to be looking at a couple other things that they've done, which will include, I mentioned they did a number of things for American television and like music and stuff like that, and that's good enough for me that we can watch X-Men from the 90s, which is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be watching X-Men the Animated Series next week. We're going to check that out, first 3 episodes. There's obviously more, and obviously we should probably watch more, but yeah, I'm just looking for an excuse to watch X-Men. So, I have one, and on Wikipedia, Saban is listed as part of the production, so fantastic. Come back for that. Come back for some more Saban as we keep going, and we'll see where the rest of this year takes us. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon for notifications. If you enjoy this video, give us a like, and if you haven't already, check out some of our previous episodes, our daily gaming videos, or our parody series, Madoka Magically Abridged. See you next time!